News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Welcome to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning.
I'm Allan Gilbreth with darkoakmedia.com.
And we got our buddy Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And, of course, we invite you to go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page, where I've already just posted the must-have item of the week.
Oh, excellent.
I did it like 20 seconds before the show started, Alan. But, hey, I got it done. You know, so if you can't stand waiting and you got to know what it is, check it out over there at the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Well, Allan, we've got sort of a wide-ranging theme of topics today.
Okay.
It occurred to me, we don't talk enough about renters' needs. They deal with home improvement as well. It's a different type of home improvement.
That is a big part of the market also.
Yeah, so we feel like it behooves us to acknowledge that. We're gonna talk about renters' priorities, you could say, and then some of the things that to empower them, I suppose you could say. So
inform them what they're getting into.
Absolutely. Yeah. As I say, we have our must-have item of the week. We have Critter Wars is interesting, Allan. I like your tagline, flammables in the AC.
Oh, yeah.
Once again, sounding like the theme of a country music song.
Well, it is Critter Wars, Joe.
Another thing we're going to introduce, and in full disclosure, we're totally stealing this from our buddy Brandon Olmsted over at Geek Tank Radio. Bad homeowner confessions. This is a therapeutic service we're offering here. Let's face it, it's also an opportunity to ridicule people for our amusement,
for fun and profit. Yeah.
We've all failed at times in our home improvement or in our work. Just working with tools incorrectly, and we're going to showcase that, and that's going to involve listener participation. So we'll get to that.
You didn't have a camera up in my garage this week, did you? Okay, just asking. So.
And we've got some other things that we're not going to bother teasing because who cares? We'll get to it when we get to it. So it's all coming at you today on Tool Talk Radio. But before we get to any of that,
and now Tool Talk Radio's weekly salute.
Wheels can be both physical or symbolic. Not my strongest opening sentence, Allan. Anyway,
okay.
The creative wheels in the mind of the famous cartoonist Jack Kirby were constantly turning, inspiring him to create the designs and plot the stories for such timeless characters as the Hulk, the Fantastic Four, the Black Panther, and Thor. Hot Wheels are one of the finest toy lines ever made, both for children and collectors. Max, the producer, has observed that the clock wheel in the production booth often feels as if it's traveling at a third of its normal speed every Saturday during the hours of 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 12 noon to 1 p.m.
Or sometimes it travels backwards.
Yeah. That's a very coincidental occurrence, Allan. And, of course, on one noteworthy occasion, when Allan Gilbreth was being chased through the streets of New York by a group of enforcers from an international underground baking syndicate in an effort to force him to surrender the recipe for his famous diced platypus souffle, eventually cornering Allan in a dark alleyway. However, just as all hope seemed to be lost, Allan quickly pulled out a pillowcase with a 10-pound wheel of cheese at the bottom from inside of his backpack, which he always carried whenever visiting the Big Apple for just such occasions, and wielding this rudimentary bludgeon like a pair of nunchucks, and with an artistry that would have made Bruce Lee proud, quickly dispatched the thugs, leaving them a crumpled mass on the alleyway floor, his recipe still intact, and observing as he exited the alley, truly the cheese stands alone. Hey, now you don't have to grade it later, huh? You travel in weird circles, man.
What did the FAA think of you traveling with that big thing of cheese?
Yeah.
Well, it was aged. It was old enough.
I'll never understand this man. Yes, when the wheels are in motion, exciting things can happen. And sometimes even sparks can fly. And this especially holds true when it comes to sharpening metal. There's that left turn again, Allan. For millennia, numerous methods have been developed for keeping our blades sharp. And one of the most efficient tools for doing this utilizes the power of a spinning wheel. My friends, we give you the grinding wheel.
Yeah.
A little clumsy on the end, but whatever. Allan, the wheel of cheese really threw me out, so I,
But you get that stuff hard enough, you can grind stuff with it.
Oh, yeah.
No, let me tell you.
Yeah. But, Allan, the grinding wheel was one that I sort of started to research, and then I kind of gave up because I don't know that. Well, I mean, it's another one of these non-definitive ones. I have to believe it goes way back. I feel like the bigger issue is what were they making these grinding wheels out of? If you don't know, folks, obviously a grinding wheel is it spins, and it's usually what kind of? It's not pumice because that's too soft, right? Is it
actually pumice has been used many, many times.
Okay.
You get into a lot of aluminums. Aluminum, little particles.
Are you talking about it mixed in with the stone? Because it's when I look at a grinding wheel, Allan, it's very porous. Right. I have to feel like it's almost like is it cast or something? I honestly don't know how they're made. I mean, they're like
boy, did you open a big one with this one?
Yeah.
All right. Anytime you start talking about an abrasive, you're not necessarily talking about something harder than something else, just something with the ability to grade against it.
Right.
So limestone has been used. We can get into whetstones. We can get into one of the big things early on was sandstone.
Oh,
just plain old sandstone, the rock. They'd go heave a big chunk of that out of there and make a grinding wheel out of it. Now, as we've grown with the aggregates, the different things that make up like sandpapers and grinding wheels have a lot to do up to and including diamond dust with what you're trying to sharpen or grind.
Well, what's interesting about this, and I kind of wanted to carry this over to the next segment, Allan, is because the grinding wheel, for one thing, folks, you should have one. They're really fun, and they don't use them near a gas can or something because they do give off sparks. But what's interesting, Allan, is if you were to if you took a sword and you smacked it against the grinding wheel, it might even break it. However, when you turn the tables and spin the wheel, it's interesting how materials can react against each other. And, like you said, the stone itself is probably softer. So we're going to talk about that, how materials intersect just for kicks. So
you just keep opening up like a bunch of mother-in-law jokes when you talk about this sort of grinding wheel stuff.
Oh, okay. I wasn't even thinking that way. Max is a little young for the mother-in-law stuff, but all right. Anyway, we'll do that. But a big hats off to the grinding wheel, our salute of the week. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar Memphis. We'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
I've been going door to door looking for fire hazards. Mind if I give your place a little inspection?
News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis.
Yeah, we're going to need to do that too, Allan. We're about to give out some real dicey information.
I mean, the fire hazard is if you use that a grinding stone incorrectly.
Absolutely. Anyway, welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And, of course, we invite you to go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and give us a like and check out all the action over there. And, you can even see the must-have item of the week. And there's some videos we posted. I went ahead and posted, again, Allan, that Rube Goldberg masterpiece. We posted that story about a year ago, if you remember that kid that it went through his whole backyard.
He took over the neighborhood.
It was great.
Awesome.
It's one of the greatest triumphs in engineering I've ever seen. So go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and check that out. So in a minute, Allan, we sort of it's funny. We're sitting here celebrating the grinding wheel today, and we sort of hopscotched over the safety issues. So before we get into more of a discussion about that, we're gonna at least discuss the safety issues involved with the grinding wheel. Before we get to that, though, Allan, you know who was always conscientious about safety?
Not bad. Okay, go for it.
I've done worse. Is our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. Well, he has to be, Allan. I mean, he's got guys up on the roof. He's got, they're ripping shingles off. They're adding roofing systems. They're taking care of business. And then, of course, all their remodeling work. So, but among other things, Jay Hill is a GAF Master Elite Installer. He's a 5-star accredited installer with the Better Business Bureau, good housekeeping. His credentials are there.
Oh, yeah.
But also he is a dynamic personality. In addition, well, let's face it, you've seen him on a job site, Alan.
Oh, I've been present.
Yeah.
I will throw in the impressive use of tarps.
Oh yeah, very.
This is one of these things you always admire people that are really good at what they do.
Yeah.
And the crew rolls up, and within minutes, your entire house is tarped, ready to go, and
windows are protected.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
That they move with a mission with this crew.
Absolutely. You know what else Jay is good at? He keeps his crew hydrated. That's important, especially you get into the summer. But anyway,
yes, we got hot.
But Jay is also he's also a former insurance agent who knows the process. If your roof, it may be that your roof needs to make a claim with your homeowner's insurance. This thing may be covered by your homeowner's insurance, but that is a process. It's something that you need to navigate with an expert. And Jay Hill, that's what he's good at. That's his specialty. So you're basically getting free consultations out of that, and you're getting somebody to represent you during the process. And he honestly makes it a lot of fun too. I mean, I never thought replacing our roof would be fun, but it really was. So, and it gives you that peace of mind. Every time it rains, I just stand in the back window with my hands on my hips, laughing at the skies, going, ha ha ha, Bring your worst.
As opposed to the last 20 years of your life, as you went.
Just going,
all right, does anybody see any water?
Exactly.
Anybody see any water? Yeah.
But if you want to have that exhilaration, give Jay Hill a call. You can call him directly at 901-484-5645 or go to bigmroofingandremodeling.com. Well, Alan, we would talk off the air. You mentioned something about the primitive nature of grinding and sharpening. But let's start with the grinding wheel, because we should talk about the safety. First of all, I'm a big fan of the grinding wheel. It's inexpensive. You can get them for less than $100. It comes with 2 stones.
Right.
It spins, and it's very practical. However, one thing. Let me start with my safety tip. When you're grinding something like, I don't know, maybe you've got an axe that you chop wood with or something. This is something you don't think about in a normal tool, but the material you're working with gets hot. So keep like a bucket of water or something handy, because you don't want that thing to get red hot. And then you grab it, and plus it doesn't sharpen correctly. So you're going to be dipping it into water, which itself is kind of cool. It takes you back, makes you feel like you're on the Lord of the Rings or something when you're
hiss as it hits that water. Yeah.
But also it's going to kick out sparks. Now those sparks are more or less, if they hit your pants, they're probably pretty harmless. However, if they hit that can of gasoline 2 feet away, that's why you work in a secured area away from that type of thing.
Well, this
you
is
never
where
know,
a
though.
little
It could
piece
ignite
of
something
hardy
else.
board.
Yeah.
This is where a little piece of hardy board comes in handy.
Okay.
If you're going to be grinding for those of you not familiar, hardy board is basically a concrete product designed to look like a board.
Yeah, it's like 3 feet by 4 feet or something like that, or 2 feet.
A decent sized piece of that. Set the grind over that, and now you have something that is not flammable.
Right, because they kind of hit the ground, they bounce. It looks cool though. It does.
Oh yeah, you get them sparks flying. You're good.
And definitely wear eye protection, of course.
Your
eyes
protection
will not like
always.
This. Yeah.
So the grinding wheel itself is. We're going to go back. I'm going to go. All right, the grinding wheel is the outcome of the word sanding.
Okay.
Because the idea is the faster you can move something, the more work you're getting done. And I always love to go, all right, and why do we call it sanding? Because we started out using what? Sand.
Yeah.
There you go. Give it a good sand scrub.
So before they had, so if you had a piece of wood or a table or something, before they had actual sandpaper, they must have just rubbed sand on it, right?
Yeah, you got sand. You kind of got it stuck to the leather, and you rubbed it back and forth.
That makes sense.
You got then we started using shark skins.
Oh, really?
And yeah.
Now, how does the average Roman citizen get himself a shark skin? But
you went down to the docks and you saw the fishermen, and you bought a shark skin.
Okay. Well, at least they're using the whole shark, I suppose.
I didn't waste anything.
Mutilating a shark, but
no.
Okay.
Well, pointing out that you're to kind of like a grinding wheel, so you had to have a material hardy enough, and the denticles on a shark skin would do some pretty good damage to stuff as it went through.
Yeah.
And then we wind up to the little peddler with his grinding wheel.
Right.
And that is where we really get into the industrial modern era, because your blacksmith could make you a pair of scissors, or you could go get a good knife.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is all before you ran down to the local corner store.
You're talking like the 1600s or maybe even
your
farther
peddler's
back
wagon would come by, and, the peddler that sold pots and pans sold them. You had a peddler that sold knives, and you had a peddler that came by that sharpened stuff.
Can I say something, Alan?
Absolutely.
I don't want to step on your toes here, but you made me think of something, because there's a big shout out to all my fellow citizens of Glen Ellen, Illinois, the village of Glen Ellen, Illinois.
Okay.
Very charming place. They still, to this day, have a guy that comes through town, and he's got a little cart. It's almost like a hot dog cart.
Yes.
And he sharpens your scissors or your knives or your whatever. And this guy's he's got a line of people. They always line up, and it's pretty cool. It's like very classic looking, but he's got it down to a science, and he gets them nice and sharp. So it's amazing that they're still doing that. So
a professional sharpener, the person that's got, we're going to say, the touch.
Right. It's a touch. Exactly.
And it is a very light touch. It has all to do with the angles.
Mm-hmm.
And you can grind. Honestly, you can grind anything. I've used grinding wheels to do everything from sharpening a tool to shaping ceramics.
Yeah. Full disclosure, though, folks, I hate to admit this on the air. Maybe this will be under the term of a bad tool confession or something. But, Alan, I'm not going to pretend that I haven't once or twice used wood on there.
Yeah.
However, it's a huge mistake, because what happens, people, is it fills in the pores, and it turns it like black, and then it's like it doesn't work. You have to actually grind off the part, all that sap that burned in there, and it's not a good idea. Don't use wood on a grinding wheel. It's bad.
I've used I've used it to clean up, not necessarily remove material, but I've used it to very rapidly just clean an edge.
Yeah, just knock something
like that
off. But yeah.
I don't think I would try to use a grinding wheel as a material removal for wood.
No,
because you're basically just gonna catch it on fire.
Yeah.
So we have so many different ideas behind grinding wheels. Now, a grinding wheel by its very nature is a consumable. It is designed to be used up.
Right.
Because as you use it, it's losing material.
Right.
So don't
those sparks. Every time a spark comes off, that's a little part of the material and the metal, right?
It is. It is, and there's also a lot of very fine particulate, very fine dust that are created by this. So if your lungs are sensitive, guys, there's another use for your mask.
That's true,
not a
you'll
bad
smell
thing.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing to wear around these.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other thing to remember is don't freak out when you see all the little bit of dirt around where you've been grinding, because that is from the grinding wheel. You're using it up. It's not designed to be there forever.
Yeah, those are the particulates.
So just kind of be there and buy the grinding wheel based on the job you're doing. Grinding wheels come in kind of a soft, medium, and super hard. And they vary in price accordingly.
Well, at your big box store, folks, you'll notice that that's the one I recommend. Usually, these grinding wheels come in sets of two,
right?
And
you get a
fine
and a medium,
on, right? And that's for a reason. So make sure you know which one to use for your thing. But and also, it's not always about making it the sharpest angle, because sometimes if you sharpen I'm mostly thinking of tools, because I think sharpening a knife there's a different tool that you're going to want to use for that.
I would really rather use a whetstone than a grinder.
Right.
But
a grinding wheel takes too much material out. But if you're sharpening like your axe or something, doesn't necessarily mean you want it like razor sharp, because that's
have
not
a literal
really
axe to grind.
Yeah, because the first couple swings it'll be great, and then it's going to dull immediately, and it's going to bend the So it's really just getting the right edge. So
correct.
Yeah, do a little research maybe. Go watch Forged in Fire or something. I don't know.
That's way too much fun.
Anyway.
So generally what you're going to buy at the big box stores, an aluminum oxide grinder, and it does a great job.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll probably wrap up our thoughts on that. But Alan, it's time to speaking of things to think about, flammables in the AC,
oh yeah,
among other things, and that's part of our Critter Wars. So we're going to bring that to you next here on Tool Talk Radio at News Talk 98.9 The Roar Memphis. We'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Now, this
is the forklift. You need a license to operate this machine. That means the upstairs office workers can't drive it. Quiz, Mike, should you drive the forklift?
I can and I have.
No.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
You can't beat fun on the old forklift, Alan.
I have my license.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And, of course, we invite you to go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and give us a like and check out all the action over there. And, Alan, I do encourage people to get on the line or at least text us, because coming up in the next hour, we've got a new segment, and we're lifting it basically from Geek Tank Radio. Our buddy Brandon, he came up with this thing called Bad Geek Confessions, where you confess to how you failed as a geek. Well, let's face it, we've all failed in the workshop. We've failed as homeowners. We've all done things that really, we shouldn't have done. And there's a therapeutic benefit to confessing that in front of thousands of listeners. Also, it gives us material that we can ridicule and entertain, and it's it's all good, clean fun. So
text it in and throw your friends under the bus. We'll
absolutely
be happy to do it for
you. That's the other thing. If you want to ridicule your spouse or somebody that we won't name names, but
we actually have somebody on the line.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll get to them in a minute, Max. Just stand by. But before we get to that, Alan, you know who we will never ridicule. Apart from the only thing I'll really ridicule about this man is he has no geek blood in him. You can't have a good discussion with him about Star Wars or Star Trek or Batman. And that's our buddy Larry Brown from Brown Refrigeration. He's too focused. He is focused on his craft, which is your HVAC needs, your smart home needs, your clean air needs. That's what he does. So that's his wheelhouse. It's a lot of fun working with Larry Brown. You just feel like you're in capable hands. They got a great culture over there at Brown Refrigeration, and they've got it, which results in he really attracts probably the best talent. He's got all his engineers and his techs you deal with them on a regular basis, Alan.
Very, very well-defined, well-oiled machine over there.
Absolutely.
They have a great attitude.
Yeah, and they've seen it all. They're very creative too, because they're going to have to be creative at my house, Alan. As you know, if you've been listening, we're finally going to get with the 21st century and update our HVAC system. And Larry's been making visits to my house, and our house has got unusual challenges that he's going to have to overcome. But we have full confidence, and we'll keep you posted on that. But if you have any HVAC needs, or if you just need a tune-up on your HVAC system, or if you need to clean the air in your home with their wonderful Remy Halo systems, using the UV power of the sun to clean the air, try that, or the smart home technology. They do it all at Brown Refrigeration, and they do it. They're just classy people over there. Get in touch with them directly at 901-362-1881 or go to brownref.com. Well, we've got a situation here, Alan, with our Critter Wars. Max, ask our caller to hold on the line for just a second, because we really need to get to this. We teased this earlier, and it's time to unpack it.
That's the most foul, cruel, and bad-tempered rodent you ever set eyes on.
I just wanted a hug.
Oh, rats in the kitchen, just like that delightful movie I taped in the theater.
Yeah, Max is really enjoying this. So, Alan, this one, I think, I think Larry Brown can relate to this one, right?
Oh my gosh.
Flammables in the AC, and it's not just the AC, but let's talk about. Explain what you mean, sir.
Well, all right. I've discovered we are having a little bit of a cool and wet spring.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like April right now.
We're not cranking those 80-degree heats and all that yet. It's been rather chilly here in the Mid-South. And I think that has affected the birds and their nesting just a little bit, because they're going for the extra fluffy. And I am discovering everywhere, the birds are trying to nest. They're trying to get they're trying to find little nooks and crevices everywhere. And especially if you have a larger air conditioner unit where the hoses come down and out, For some reason, things are trying to build nests there this year.
Well, if you think about it, Alan, those little nooks and crannies, it's already pre-framed for them. All they're doing is laying in the cushioning, and it's already put together.
It's
so
like
it makes
the
a lot of sense.
subfloor's already in. All you got to do is start building the nest. So, and I'm finding a lot. The thing that's going to give me is I'm finding a lot of like house lint.
Oh, yeah.
Which is exceedingly flammable.
Yeah.
And of course, birds and animals don't get human stuff. They don't understand that that's 110 or 208 volts. Or They don't understand that. They just understood, hey, look, there's a hole and it's warm.
Right.
So, yeah, right now is a really good time to walk around the house and see who's trying to move in with you, where they're moving in, and what they're moving in with.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned, too, the dryer lint and stuff, because depending on how, for one thing, folks, please clean that out. I know people that don't think about that. It accumulates, it blows out into their yard and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But, man, that is prime building material. Like you said, birds and squirrels, they love that stuff. That's like us going to the high-end big box store and getting a nice memory foam pillow or something like that. So,
having somebody go, here, have some free fence post.
Right.
Yeah, I'll take those.
But yeah, they set it up against some wiring or something. The AC unit blows off heat in the summer.
Yes.
Like you said, a lot of heat. And especially if it's in the sun or something. So.
And the other thing I'm going to throw out to check is the little flappy door for your dryer exhaust.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know that looks completely useless to a human. It's the cute little door that when the dryer begins blowing kind of flaps open and flaps around in the air. But when it's not blowing, it's closed.
Oh, it's funny. That one little trap door is exceedingly
crucial,
man.
If you don't have one of those little trap doors, I have two instances. One of them is it is easy access to mice.
Mm-hmm.
And I have had one instance this week of mice in a dryer.
Another country music song. There we go. Yeah.
Let's just say neither the homeowner nor the mice were amused.
Yeah.
The other one is a underfloor vent for downward venting kitchen equipment.
Oh, boy.
A mole.
Oh, yeah.
Bless his little heart, got confused and wandered up in that thing and scared the bejesus out of the homeowners as this creature was trying to tunnel its way into the house through the vent under the stove.
It's funny because, Alan, you talk about these. I know sometimes you talk about these little pinhole things that they call them you call it like an air jet or something.
Yes.
Well, it's the reverse, too. Anytime, just think of any place that your home is letting off some sort of warmth.
Yes.
That's especially the dryer. I mean, you figure you're a raccoon cruising around the neighborhood, and all of a sudden you got this hot air blowing out of somebody's home. You're going to camp out there. You're going to make your stand there, and it's just things we take for granted, but especially like when you're talking about them building nests and things like that.
Well, and then I'm going to point out the chimney.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a chimney cap? Because if you don't have a chimney cap, do you know that video game Angry Birds? It's going to move into your chimney. Chimney swifts are not back yet, so right now is a great time to get up there and get a chimney cap on that thing.
Yeah.
Bird nests are very dangerous. They're highly flammable, and at some point they will catch on fire and come blowing out of the top of your chimney.
Yeah.
So just words of caution. Everybody's looking for a house. It's not just humans.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's looking for prime real estate. And if you are providing prime real estate, I promise you, somebody is trying to move in.
Yeah, it's going to come back to bite you. Plus, it's just not a good idea. You're attracting something. The other thing is a chain reaction, Alan. So you're attracting that nice that nest of bluebirds that's living up on your roof. Well, you know who else likes that? The hawks. Now suddenly they're coming in, or the owls, because they'll eat anything. They don't care. You're going to have a turf war on the roof of your house, and you just don't need that.
Speaking of turf war, we have one forming at a friend's house where the hawks were trying to move into one side and the crows were trying to move into the other.
Ooh. Now, that's a good battle. The crows are a little tougher than the...
Crows are like a mob. They have tactics. Let's just say crows are a gang.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were ganging up and, there's a lot of racket.
Allan, not to change gears, but since we are in Critter Wars, before we hit the break, I want to let's get on our soapbox about this, too. One thing that's very tempting is we've been seeing strays in the neighborhood. Sometimes you see a stray cat or a stray dog or something.
Oh, the poor little kitty. Leave some food out for it.
It's very tempting to do that, but, it's
Please
just,
don't.
For one thing, okay, you're leaving it out for them. Don't leave it out over. I mean, for one thing, the squirrels are going to enjoy that, or the raccoons or something.
Worse,
I think
the Norwegian brown rats.
Yeah, I think my advice would be because I know the feeling. We've had stray cats in our yard. We've gotten to this point now where we'll leave a little water out because I'm like, okay, well, water is probably if they're dehydrated, that's a pretty serious thing.
Right.
But man, if you leave food out, for one thing, you're going to attract all the strays, but also it's not going to go to the. It's not going to go to the creature you're trying to get it to.
It's not going to end well for you. Big word. Even if you have pets yourself, do not leave food outside overnight.
Yeah. I think it's kind of. I mean, it sounds like common sense, but people do it. So it's our duty to.
And then they're shocked when there's a raccoon beating on the door at 6 a.m. and letting you know the food dish is empty.
Yeah. Where's my Where's my breakfast? Anyway, okay. Well, I think we've done our duty, Allan, on Critter Wars, but we're going to turn the corner. We'll see what that caller wants when we come back.
All right.
You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here at News Talk 98.9 The Roar Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
There's something about an underdog that really inspires the unexceptional.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
See, Allan, we can inspire as well. There's something to strive for. Anyway, welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989, or go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and give us a like and check out all the action over there. In a minute, we're going to get we got a caller on the line, Allan. We'll get to him shortly. I guess Ken has some questions about, I don't know what, a table leg or something. But anyway, before we get to that, I want to just mention our buddy Mike Serafolian with Tri-State Interiors, who, Mike, sorry, man, you're overdue. We got to get you out back on the show soon. He's busy, he's remodeling kitchens and bathrooms, Allan. That's his passion. Although I do think, maybe we can entice him over to the geek world. He has an interest in that stuff. Yeah. But anyway, the approach there is wonderful. If you're going to remodel your kitchen or bathroom, first of all, you don't want to spend a fortune. You want to get good value for your project. So Mike's focus is all about keeping his overhead low so that it's not expensive for his customers. Also, sourcing his products as regionally as possible, so you're not waiting on a product to come overseas in some shipping container that's going to take 6 months. So he likes to source as much as possible regionally, but also he does not begin anything. He doesn't begin the project until all of the materials that you need for the project are safely in his warehouse, ready to go, so that when one stage is finished, you go to the next stage, and it's very efficient. But also, he embraces the latest technology, so the design process is really a lot of fun with Tri-State Interiors. He creates everything on a 3D rendering, and you're part of the process. You're there saying, hey,
indeed.
Take that wall out. Let's change the color of the cabinets. Let's put this countertop in. And so once you have that complete, you have a 3D rendering that you can download on your phone or your smart device and start showing your friends, start showing your family, and get their input, and really get a feel for what your kitchen's going to look like instead of just sort of hoping for the best. So it's a really cool process. It's great people to work with, and it's called Tri-State Interiors for a reason. He serves the Tri-State area. A pretty substantial footprint too. If you can hear the show,
pretty much.
He's in you're in his service area. So get in touch with Mike at 901-409-1333, or go to tristateinteriorsllc.com. All right, Allan, we got Ken on the line. Ken, how's it going this morning, my friend?
Doing well. First-time listener, first-time caller. How are y'all today?
Oh, good. Good to hear from you, man. We're doing great. So what do you got cooking today?
Well, we bought a used dining room table, probably from an estate sale and maybe owned by some renters. It's awfully wobbly. Got 5 legs, and I was wondering if there's a way, short of getting the grinder wheel and grinding off the legs, to stabilize it. Take out the wibbly wobblies.
5 legs? Where's the middle? Is there something in the middle?
Correct. Yes, it has several. What do you call it when you put them in? Leaves. It's got several leaves available to it. Yes, there's a 5th leg there in the middle.
I got a pretty easy solution, Allan. But what do you got? So Ken, is this a hardwood, tile, or carpeting that you're sitting on? What flooring do you have underneath the table?
I think it's on carpet.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense why it's gonna wobble. So it's pretty. How bad of a wobble are we talking?
It's pretty good. I was thinking maybe the legs were in the corners and they had maybe a 45-degree bracing across the corners, but they're actually freestanding like they're individual spin-on legs.
Oh, okay. Well, my immediate thought is those things are notorious for coming loose. Sometimes if they might be screwed in, sometimes they're loose. But however, my big thing is, Allan, I'm a big fan. Now you'll have to get some help. You have to get somebody to help you flip the table over. But if you go to your big box store, which there's a couple of good ones here, home improvement stores. They if you go to the hardware aisle where there's usually it's in the same area as the cabinet hardware and things like that. And down the line, you'll see these little, they're like little footings that you put in. You nail them in. They're going to have a serrated, almost like a round serrated teeth, Allan, I think. And you tap them in, and they're adjustable. You can twist them to the height you want, basically. They usually have like a felt bottom or a rubber bottom. Why can't I think of the name of those things? They're basically for this exact need. And then you get your you flip the table back over, and then you just adjust each leg until to get it to the height you want. And usually that's a really easy solution. But I will say this: how old is this table, Ken?
I do not know. I don't think it's a uneven issue as far as a left or right wobble. It's just in the securement of the legs to the table.
Oh, he's talking about in the base of the table, not at the foot.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay. So when you have you flipped it over and looked at them yet?
I have not. The wife still got quite a bit of accessories, but like I said, they're each leg, other than they're kind of off from the corners. There's a couple inches. They're not necessarily in the corners where I've seen them with the 45-degree support. They're spin-on legs of some sort.
Right.
Oh, I see where he's going. Okay, I got another thought, but go ahead, Allan.
Yeah. So, all right, well, here's the big thing. You're going to have to get that table where you can flip it over. Because you're going to need to work from the bottom up. Once you get it flipped over, you're generally... I'm going to say this table's probably mid-century if you're not thinking it's really old. If it's mid-century, it's going to have a little corner cross space in it, and it's going to have a little mount that goes in the bottom of it, and then the table leg screws into that.
Yeah. Or it might have screws
that are it's going to have a cross screw that comes in from the 45-degree angle that holds it in place.
Yeah, those are notorious for coming loose.
And those are infamous for, as Joe said, coming loose. And you can get a crescent wrench and get down in there and tighten it. Yeah. And that may solve your problem, so long as you don't have any broken wood.
Oh, Ken, the other thing is, depending on, because I'm trying to visualize the way, because you said these legs are screwed in. Also, the little the one thing is you don't over tighten it. What probably happened in the past is somebody might have over tightened it, and the little sleeve inside the wood comes loose, and then it's just spinning, and it gets looser and looser. So it might even involve, I don't know, Allan, doing the. I'm a big fan of. They make this epoxy. It's in like almost a little syringe type thing. So you might want to pull the sleeve out of there, squeeze this stuff in, and it dries fast. It dries in like 5 minutes, and it's rock hard. So it might just be that, Ken. I think it's just flipping it over is going to be the answer.
Is step one of, and this is where getting a picture is awesome. Flip it over and take a picture of one of those corners and send it to our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to look at it. And I'm hoping, all right, just from... It just depends on who the manufacturer on the table was.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get lucky, it's gonna have that little 45-degree cross brace in it, and through the center of that is gonna be a screw that goes into a mount on the table leg, and it's all come loose. It's just being drug around on the carpet and beat around. Get in there with your crescent wrench or a good pair of pliers, and you can tighten that up, and that leg will sync up nice and good. If it's a little older than that and it's a little looser, you may need to insert a little padding around the leg so that when you tighten the screw, it gets a good tight press up against it. If it's just the screw-in leg, Joe is right. A lot of people get all Tarzan on those legs, and they tighten them down to the point that it actually will lift the mount from the base of the table.
It's a lot of finesse.
And at that point, you may need to actually uninstall the table leg itself, make sure that the mount is securely onto the table, and that's where a good epoxy can come in, and just in case those 3 little nails they put in it aren't quite biting like they used to.
Yeah. Hey, Ken, have you ever used that epoxy that we're talking about?
Not particularly.
If you go to the big box store, this stuff's great, man. Don't get it on your clothes because it won't come off. But it's you go in there and they make different ones. If you go to this is in the paint department, and if you go down, you'll see a lot of glues and caulks and adhesives and things, and it's really handy. I use it for many things. You can use it for wood, metal, all sorts of stuff. It dries it's really hard. And what's cool is you'll notice it's clear. And it's almost like a little injector, like a syringe or something. And when you squeeze it, what it does is it blends the 2 epoxies together, and it dries really hard. And that thing fixes a multitude of sins. It's like, if you've got an area that nobody sees anyway, just squeeze that epoxy is a lifesaver. So that would be our first step. But Ken, we're coming up on the break, so can you text us that? You can either send it to our Facebook page or. You can text
if you can take the picture and text it over to the number. Joe, what's the number?
Well, actually, you can text it to me directly because I don't think we can take. Send it at 901.
Yeah, I got that number.
Okay, 921-7105. That's that number because I don't think our text line takes pictures. But
okay. Well,
Ken, keep us posted, man, and good luck on this.
Okay.
I really appreciate
just need
it.
to see the mount, and we can probably give you a little more direct advice.
Did we give him good advice?
I think we did.
Thanks, Ken. Appreciate you listening.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks. Okay. I don't know. I almost feel like we gave him too much information. But, without having seen it, you got to just but those things, that's Allan, I might do a little PSA when we come back because that is a good lesson. Sometimes furniture, the more decorative it is, and sometimes the design puts a lot of weight on an area that is not really able to handle it.
It's very true.
Tables are notorious for that. So just because it looks
cute
cool.
Chairs, cute chairs have a tendency to just come apart at the seams.
Right. So the design, don't just go for cool design, go for solid design too.
Yes.
So thanks, Ken. I hope he gets that fixed, man.
I'd like to see you pick.
Well, Allan, hour 1 is in the can. Where did it go? It's over and it's done. So anyway, we'll be coming back for hour 2 in a minute. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here at News Talk 98.9 The Roar, Memphis. We're going to take a break. Hey, Allan, when we come back, it's time for Bad Homeowner Confessions.
News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
And welcome to Hour 2 of Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Woodturning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989, or go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Well, do that anyway. Do both, Give us a like over there. Check out all the action. Check out the videos that we sometimes post. And if you can't wait, if you've got to have those spoilers, you can go over there and see the must-have item of the week, which we've already posted, Allan. So, Allan, if you were listening in the last hour, our friend Ken called in the line. He had an issue about a table leg. Boy, Ken is a model caller, Allan.
Perfect.
We asked him to send us pictures, and during the break, he actually texted them to me on my phone line. But I was remiss, Allan. I didn't realize you can send pictures at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline at 901-683-0989. So, Ken, I was mistaken. You can also send them there. So, folks, if you have tasteful pictures or videos, I suppose, send them over to the text line. But, Allan, in looking at these pictures, Ken has had issues. He's got it sounds like a pretty sizable dining room table. It's got 5 legs, which tells us there's supports in the middle, and they were just wobbling. But we had thought that maybe it was a newer table. This table, based on the photos, Ken, looks to me like it might be at least 100 years old because flathead screws. Well, maybe not that old, but
it's 40s, 50s.
It's older than
it could be. It could go that far back, but I'm going to say it's probably a 40s or 50s.
If you're ever wondering, folks, if you look under the table, one of the telltale signs is a flathead screw. Usually means it's a bit older than Phillips head screws. It means it's probably not an antique,
right?
But Ken, based on the looks of it, we think that you should unscrew those. It's basically round legs that are going into a base, Allan, and you've got a couple solutions. It looks like it basically either the sleeve that the bolt is into probably got loose somehow. So it might be a combination approach.
You probably got a little rust. You probably got a little wiggling. Okay, there are at least 2 or 3 products available at any good hardware store.
Okay.
One of them is going to be a thread stop tape.
Okay.
And this works exactly like your Teflon tape works underneath your sink. It's just a rubberized tape that you would put around the screw in the top mount of that leg and thus build it up a little bit and give it a tighter, harder bite. There is also a product that is nothing more than a little square of wire mesh.
Mm-hmm.
And these usually come in some kind of loose screw hole fix kit. Is what you'd ask the guy at the hardware store. You gotta go, I've got a screw hole that's come loose and I need a fix kit for it.
Right.
And what this going to be is just a little, and honestly, it's just a little sheet of little piece of sheet metal with a lot of holes in it, and you stuff that down in the hole, and then you screw the screw back into it, and it gives you a good hard bite. Because it's furniture, my first thought is to go to the threaded stop tape.
Yeah. Do the don't go to the nuclear option for it, because the one thing, Ken, I was recommending that epoxy. The one thing about that though is that's kind of a full commitment thing, because once you epoxy that little sleeve in there, it's staying
and that
for a while.
will solve your problem. But you're not going to. If there's a reason you might need to take these legs off again, that would be my last option.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope that helps, Ken. Keep us posted. If it's a total disaster and a train wreck, we don't want to hear from you.
No, no. Yeah, we stumped the chump.
I'm just kidding. But anyway.
I think the tape will do. I think that tape will solve this problem.
Yeah. Just let us know. But great caller, man. But anyway, Allan, it's time to change gears. It's time to go into the dregs of home improvement.
Okay.
I've called you all here because I need some honest answers.
Yeah, they all kind of broke. So, when do I start?
There is a basket of oil-soaked rags above a wood-burning stove.
Are you out of your mind? You put a jet engine on a lawnmower?
This time, they are going to be held accountable. This time, they are the ones who will pay.
Oh, yes. Good job, Max. Yes, it's time, Allan. It's time to introduce a great new segment, and this is going to be a weekly offering. And this is radio. This is listener participation. It's our bad homeowner confessions.
All right.
And the good thing about this, Allan, because we're all about you. Maybe you're a perfect homeowner. Maybe you are just the model of a. You're on top of things. You keep your home maintained. But maybe your neighbor is not. Well, we'll take all submissions, or maybe your father-in-law is not.
Oh,
hint. And so we're not going to name names. Well, we want to hear about your failures, and we want to hear. And it doesn't have to just be in home. As a homeowner, you might have worked with a tool incorrectly, or you might have done something, dangerous. There is
you calling me out on that one?
Yeah,
I get imaginative with how to use tools.
Therapeutic benefit to this. So I'm gonna kick this off,
okay.
and I'm gonna actually offer one this week, and just to give people an example of what we're looking for. So, and I've told this story before. If you've listened to our show for a few years, you might have heard this story, but I'm gonna repeat it just to give you an idea. And this is about my father-in-law. May he rest in peace. I never, unfortunately, Alan, I never got to meet him. He died before I met my wife, but I heard the stories.
Okay.
And this one is legendary. You've heard this one too, Alan. Well, we've all seen this. Water lines, as you've rightly said, Alan, are full of pressure. Those things are highly pressurized, and they're prone to get little leaks every now and again. Well, right above their dining room table, apparently a slow leak, and we're talking like maybe one drip every 10 minutes or something.
Right.
Very slow leak developed, and he was semi-proactive, you could say. He cut a hole in the ceiling. He took the sheetrock out, observed the situation,
right,
and his solution, instead of calling a plumber, or trying to, turn the water off and fix the leak, he said, well, this thing's barely dripping. What if I took a spaghetti pot and and stuck it into this space in between the rafters, and just and put this and let the drip go into this pot.
It'll evaporate.
My wife will never know. Nobody will ever know. And over time, it'll evaporate over time.
Oh yeah.
And nobody will be the wiser. Well, Alan,
no, it doesn't.
The day of reckoning came. My wife told me this story. I guess she was a kid at the time, and apparently one day they're just minding their own business at the table, and suddenly this spaghetti pot full of water crashed through the ceiling. I can't imagine the mess it left, and I can't imagine how much that thing weighed. I mean, to just suddenly burst through.
That's
and
2 or 3 gallons. Yeah.
Traumatized the family, smashed into the table, caused who knows how much damage, and he never lived it down. Apparently, maybe that was part of his early demise. I don't know. But great man. I don't want to. He was a fine man. He just wasn't. He wasn't interested in fixing the leak, Alan. So that. That's what we're talking about here.
I understand his thinking perfectly.
Yeah.
It's such a small drip.
Well, okay.
It's obviously it is so hot in this attic that no water can survive.
Okay, Alan, that's the problem. This is where his logic failed. This is not an attic. This was closed. There was a floor up above, and there was a ceiling below. There's no air movement there.
There's
almost no air movement.
Motion. Nothing to take the water away.
If this is an attic that's 140 degrees in the summer, I could almost sympathize with his logic here. But
no, he trapped himself.
Big swing and a miss. Now, I will say this, folks, because we're all about not just ridicule, but we're about solutions. Alan, had he lived in these days, they have a great product, and I guess we can mention it. It's called Shark Bite. You cut those little sleeves. I've used those. They work really well. I had the same issue in my bathroom. In the ceiling, there was a water line that was leaking. You cut out the bad spot. This thing slips in and it clicks in place. And I'm telling you, man, it has never leaked in like 10 years. It works great. So
you also have a pinhole cover these days.
Okay.
So if you do have a pinhole in a pipe, you can now buy 2 pieces. It looks like 2 halves of a piece of pipe with screws.
Yeah.
So if you watch like a submarine movie, you'll see these things on giant scale being used.
Oh, yeah.
That's how they shut down a leak. And these little guys can also provide basically a permanent solution to a tiny little pinhole like that.
Yeah. No, lots of great solutions, just not the spaghetti pot solution.
The spaghetti pot.
So, folks, that's what we're looking for with our bad homeowner confessions, or I suppose our bad craftsperson confessions. So if you've ever failed, this is what we want, and this is going to become a new weekly offering. So get in touch with us. You can leave those messages. You can call, leave a voice message or a text at 901-683-0989 over at our Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline, and purge. Your suffering is our entertainment. That's what we're looking for. So anyway, all right, Alan. Speaking of stuff, no, actually, this is not suffering. This is offering solutions again. We got to turn the corner. We're going to talk. We're going to talk to our renters when we come back. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here at News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis. We'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
You're making a plan while I'm being a man, just winging it.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
The MC Bat Commander's words are oddly appropriate today, Allan. Anyway, welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989, or go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and give us a like, and check out all the action over there, and share us, share the links with your friends, and we're trying to always build the Tool Talk Radio community. So
building the family.
Yeah, apparently, Allan, looks like we triggered another call. We're going to get to them in a minute. It sounds like Mr. Anonymous is on the air.
All right, I can't wait.
All right. Anyway, but before we get to that, let's talk about somebody who is not anonymous. They are proud to put their name to this product. Very proud. In fact, I've never seen anybody as passionate about what the work that they do.
I bet I can guess who you're talking about.
Cindy Williams is the owner of Shelf Genie of the Mid-South, and they are just a force of nature. Every time I'm around Cindy, I almost feel like I'm 15 years older, because she just puts me to shame with her energy and her passion and her enthusiasm about the products that they sell. But Shelf Genie is wonderful. They have great solutions for your kitchen and bathroom, and honestly, really almost any closet that pantries are usually generally a small closet, and so you might have closets in your hallway that need this solution. There's any number of solutions that they offer, and it's all about giving you greater access to everything that you keep in your cabinets, and giving you better access, or giving you maximizing the space, you could say.
Right.
If you ever open your kitchen cabinet or your bathroom cabinet, you're going to notice a lot of empty space sometimes, or you're going to notice things piled up, or
I'm just going to
blind
throw in,
spots.
There you go. That dead corner behind the pots and pans. Now you can finally use it.
Yeah. Or if you ever look in the corner of, there's always that corner that's basically just cabinet space that you can't use because you can't even get to it. Well, they have solutions that take advantage of all of that space, and the fun part is the consultation is free. They go to, Allan, they're fully trained. You go to Shelf Genie, it's almost like Shelf Genie University. All of the designers, all of the installers, everybody involved with the whole process, they get trained on this, and
Excellent.
So they offer custom solutions, and they're very well versed in how to make this happen, and they're just a lot of fun to work with. So if you want to really transform your kitchen or your bathroom and get access to everything, especially if you've got maybe you've got mobility issues, maybe you can't reach things as easily as you used to, maybe your knees are bad, like my one knee is starting to go out, Allan. Get in touch with the good people at Shelf Genie. You can call them directly at 901-422-8225, or go to shelfgenie.com/Mid-South Memphis, and make sure you tell them you heard about it on Tool Talk Radio. So, all right, Allan, well, it sounds like we've triggered somebody else. So we've got Mr. Anonymous on the line. Talk to us, Mr. Anonymous.
Yeah, good morning. When I was first married, and we had a youngin', and being potty trained, and I think we might have had a small sickness going on in the house, whatever. The only toilet in the house got clogged. So, I had to go to the store for some Sprite and Gatorade and stuff. But when I got back, I had this large thing of Crystal Drano, and I said, "Hey, this will fix it." And she patted me on the back and said, "Mr. Fix It, go for it." And
I can see where this is going.
The whole thing down in the toilet and shut the door. And I was proud. And all of a sudden we hear a big boom. We opened the door and the toilet was laid over on the floor.
Wow. Holy smokes. So, Mr. Fix It, were you sleeping on the couch that night, man?
He didn't sleep.
No,
He's cleaning up bathroom.
We were on lifeboats, man. That water was everywhere.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, folks, I think Mr. Fix It is reacting to our bad homeowner confession.
Well,
well, let me ask you something. How do you mind me asking, how old were you at the time?
Oh, mid-20s.
There you go. I thought so. Yeah. Mid-20s. So you weren't fully you didn't fully understand chemistry and physics of how your toilet works and everything.
No. Hey, this was the 70s. I was a high school dropout,
Okay.
We were in the military, and they didn't train me to do nothing. I got out of the military, and I guess all I knew was explosives.
Well, hey, man, that's,
I will throw in your defense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Especially back then, the warning labels on those things weren't real great.
No, they just wanted to move product.
And,
Yeah.
television, it's hard to say back in the 70s, TV was kind of new these days, but TV wasn't that old in the 70s.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of commercials that just, I remember just dump it in and you're fine. And
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
they didn't bother to tell you that if it got 8 feet down the line and got stuck there, it was going to become a volcano.
I'm impressed, though, Mr. Anonymous, that you got the explosion because so we should, Allan, we're dealing with, we don't want to give bad advice here. So one thing I will say is I've never heard anytime you go to the big box store and you've got a toilet issue, for one thing, there's a wax ring down there that this thing's crossing, and you never use chemicals, right? I mean, because it'll eat away at the wax ring, and so you it's generally a physical thing. You take one of those snakes or you plunge or something. So
but what that canister he had was basically a big giant bottle of stomach acid. It was basically what they sold him.
You got a gallon of Alka-Seltzer.
You wish you had a gallon of Alka-Seltzer. This was basically like a cross between stomach acid and battery acid. And you dump this stuff down there. And depending upon what was down there, in your case, probably quite a bit of organics, you got a lot of gas being produced. And if it hit that trap just right, depending upon how that toilet was mounted, that baby will come up and come off.
You know what?
This is not the first time I've seen
it.
This
dude cracked all along the bottom. I mean, it didn't come off. It just cracked.
It just broke it.
Wow. Well, Mr. Anonymous,
that's why.
Yeah. We're gonna put you in our.
I was lucky. My mom knew a plumber that came out on Sunday. Ooh. That happened late on Saturday, and he came out on Sunday after church and installed a new toilet. And luckily, she had mercy on me, and she didn't say this is what it cost and send me the bill or nothing.
Hey, Mr. Anonymous, we're coming up on a break. We're going to have to let you go. But, hey, we're going to put you in the Tool Talk Radio Hall of Shame. You are going to be up there. And, folks, that's what we're looking for with our bad homeowner confessions. Now, I think that's going to have to be a once-a-week stuff. But,
stuff happens. It does.
And we appreciate that. But, that's good, clean fun. The problem for Mr. Anonymous is back in the 70s, nobody had a cell phone. Because if he would have got that on video or if he could have captured footage, he would have been a YouTube sensation. He could have monetized the whole thing,
been a millionaire by now.
And he could have just bought a new toilet. So, thanks for calling, Mr. Anonymous.
No, never.
All right.
Y'all have a good one.
Thanks, man.
All right, man. Good talking to you. Wow. Holy smokes. An explosive episode of Tool Talk Radio. Yeah. But anyway, you're listening to Tool Talk Radio here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar Memphis. We're going to go try to recover our dignity, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Gonna paint a wagon, gonna paint it good. We ain't bragging, we're gonna coat that wood.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Yeah, you can't really explode with when you're painting wood. I've yet to have that.
No, don't say that.
So at least that's a fairly safe activity. Anyway, welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. Although I'm not sure we want any more calls, Allan. We've had some shocking content,
We had a pretty drop the mic moment there the other day.
Mr. Anonymous. Anyway, but you can call us at 901-683-0989. And apparently, I was remiss. You can actually even send us pictures at the Tool Talk Radio Facebook and text line. So And, of course, we invite you to go over to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and give us a like. So, Allan, I didn't want the whole show to turn into our bad homeowner confessions, but apparently we triggered Mr. Anonymous. He called in, and I feel like he was telling us about when he was a young homeowner, he had a toilet clog and mistakenly filled the whole thing up with chemicals and this cleaning thing, and it exploded, blew up the toilet, and made a big mess. We should say, in the interest of public safety, that that's not something you should ever do. Toilets are not meant to get all those chemicals, but also, thank goodness nobody was sitting on it.
Yeah, the story, we could wrap the show up with the stories I could tell on those.
And if you listened to our show, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, you heard the story about the woman that lived in Florida that had a septic system, and lightning hit there was apparently an exposed piece of metal in the yard connected to the septic system. It hit the septic system and blew up the entire. I mean, there's a lot of explosive gases in there. So if you have a septic system, don't be in the bathroom during a lightning storm.
There's a lot to be said to that.
Anyway, and don't pour chemicals down the toilet, please. And actually, chemicals are usually the last resort for me, Allan, for a leak. I mean, for a clogged toilet or a sink or anything, because for one thing, I don't think for one thing, it's not really environmentally friendly, but also usually a clog needs to be physically removed. Like sometimes in that little J trap at the bottom of your sink, take that out. That's chemicals. It's going to take a lot of effort to dissolve that, and it really never does. And if you just open it up and clean it out, or if you use a snake for your mainline drain, I'm more of a fan of the physical removal of clogs.
I got to tell you, one of the new products that was not available in the 70s, 80s, 90s, or the 2000s, the new enzymes.
Exactly. You're more of a maintenance guy. Every day, just keep the thing clean.
I just love dropping one of those down in the sink about once a month, and it does its job. The
Preventative
little probiotics
measures
and enzymes take care of not developing the clog.
Yeah, and of course, the hill I'm going to die on, Allan, and I'll preach this to the day I die, is if you can switch to single-ply toilet paper. Man, it's changed my life. We haven't had a clogged mainline drain in 4 years ever since we made that switch. So, but Allan, in a minute we're going to shift gears. We've got to talk about renters. Renters are they deal with home improvement as well. But before we do that, give us some updates on darkoakmedia.com.
Well, we've had an interesting few weeks of...
To say the least.
To say the least of... of course, last night was of all things Star Trek Day.
Yeah. Shelby County Star Trek Day, which was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. So
Best crowd they've ever had, honestly.
My gosh, it was wonderful. A big shout out to everybody there. And we were there filming, so we'll have that show posted up in the next few days. So... the biggest thing we've had going on, of course, we've had a lot of tributes for Mr. Billy Roberts, which was one of the very first TV psychics ever, and grew up in England during the Rolling Stones and Beatles eras, and was friends with everybody.
Now,
famous, not famous, everybody. He just knew them all.
Has he made contact yet, Allan?
Because being the skeptic on the show, he has not made contact yet. But,
okay. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be him.
Well, that has been kind of the running gag between me and some of the co-hosts on the show. So you can check out Scary Stories with Kalila or Afterlife Mysteries with Kalila and Billy, and see a lot of the things he had to say. And a couple of the shows, like The Mind of the Medium, have been massively popular since his passing. So.
Okay. Yeah. No, hats off. We just, we got to give him a little grief. And
he enjoyed a little critique.
Absolutely.
So he was quite the British gentleman and yet scholar of his field.
Yeah, so go to darkoakmedia.com and you can see some of the unique circles that Allan travels in, and and at the end you'll go, how is this guy hosting a home improvement show? Why is it? Anyway, but no, it's a lot of fun. So, well, Allan, let's shift gears. We one thing I feel like we've been remiss. Homeowners, homeowners deal with home improvement projects,
Right.
but so do renters.
Yes.
It's still their home. Some people, they're, maybe when you're younger, let's face it, most of us rent. We start off renting, and we have different priorities and different needs. And so what, in fact, we were talking to our friend Allie. She helps us with the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention. She's a young lady she's in a renting situation. And so they're dealing with things of how you furnish the place.
Right.
But they're still dealing with improvements. So,
Well, the priorities, and if you're thinking about buying a home, I am just the biggest proponent in the world of, if you're thinking about buying a house, but you have questions, rent one for 6 months to a year, and go try it before you buy it.
That's a good point.
Home ownership is a lot different than apartment living or living, cohabitating around with your family and kind of stuff. Because as you discover, your priorities shift drastically.
Oh yeah. And I can speak from authority on this one, Alan. So if you're going, I have a dog. I would love that giant 1 acre property in the backyard, where the dog can run around. Well, until it's your job to be cutting that yard.
Then you just, as the old joke was, I joined the Navy because the boats were so big and pretty and clean. And now that I've joined, I know why they're so clean.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Of everything you do changes when you move.
Oh, yeah.
And we all know moving is pain, but how you move, how you plan, and if you're renting, you're going to move.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why the furniture you purchase, the outliers to it. One thing people forget about is the artwork.
Yeah.
You gotta hang it, display it, put it up. But then again, you also have to be able to pack it, wrap it safely, and be able to move it to your next location.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's just a lot that comes into. So if you've never owned a home before, you've never had a lawnmower, you've never had to get out there and edge the yard, you've never had to deal with a squirrel showing up in your chimney.
Yeah.
Welcome to early home ownership. Of all of these things and more bizarreness will happen to you while you're renting.
Well, and another thing I want to say too, because one thing Allie, our friend, told us about is they're really into thrifting. They go to they go to the thrift shop, or they go to flea markets, or they go to estate sales, and they'll pick up furniture, or they'll pick up items that need repair. Like they're like, okay, hey, if I just sand the top of this table, I'm going to get it for like $40. And by the, so they're involved with things where they actually need space to work on their items. And one thing I've noticed, one really nice thing that's happened over the last, I don't know, dozen years or so are, you could call them community workshops, where you can, and we have a great one here in Memphis at the Sears Crosstown building, for like $80 a month. You might just go rent it for a month, and they've got access to every tool you could want, every type of finishing thing. People come in there and they bring a project in, and it's clean, and it's well lit, and it's got all the state of the art tools. And I think there's other workshops just here in Memphis, and I believe most communities have some sort of community workshops that you can have access to. And that's a great way to start acquainting yourself with tools, because even if you think, fixing a table or making, picture frames, it all kind of connects to getting handy with tools, and it will connect to home improvement. I promise you. It's similar to framing a wall or something like that. So,
well, here in Memphis and the Shelby County Mid-South area, I know that we have there's definitely more than 2 or 3 that I can think of right off the top of my head, workshop areas. There's at least a couple of community gardens. There's a couple of commercial kitchens that will rent time in the commercial kitchen. So there is a wide variety of places where you can broaden those skills, try that experience. If you don't have room in your apartment, hey, this workshop idea is a great way of building that project, or maybe taking, as we always say, trash to treasure. If you're adventurous enough and want to get in there and start redoing furniture or something like that, something that was, $20 at the flea market turns into $200 at the antique store.
And let's face it, because you did it yourself, you're going to be more connected to it. You're never going to want to sell it. You're going to be
you're proud.
That's the table.
You're keeping it.
Right. Yeah. And also one thing that is different today is just through you could probably Google it or get on Facebook or something, and I bet you there's workshops. There's probably all sorts of things in your community where somebody is saying, hey, this Saturday at 4, we're going to teach you how to install tile to your hardwood floors.
Check your local library.
Yeah. Lots of, once again, quit complaining about the times we live in. There's a lot of
we're blessed.
Great options you have if you're a renter that we didn't have in the past. So, all right, that was a very positive and a reasonable segment, Alan. Turn the corner from exploding toilets and everything else. I can't promise what's going to happen next. You're just going to have to stay tuned. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here at News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Dad! Your hand is jammed in the toaster! Dad!
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Good example of what what we're looking for here at Tool Talk Radio. Anyway, welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from DarkOakMedia.com and our pal Max behind the glass. I don't know if I can handle another phone call from our Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline, but if you must, you can call.
Had to end the show on an electric note right there.
There you go. But you can call or text us. Probably text is the best option here at 901-683-0989. And you can actually send pictures, tasteful pictures, folks. Home improvement related, please. Tool related.
Hey, when you're trying to ask the question, we'd love to see what you're working on.
Absolutely. So, Allan, I want to wrap up something. We were talking to renters, and I like one thing you said in the last segment, talking about it's not a bad idea to try before you buy. If you want to buy a home, which is we're all obviously supportive of the idea. It's not always a great idea to buy a home given your life circumstance. If you're gonna live somewhere for only maybe a year or so, and you think, I'll just buy a house and flip it and whatever, you're probably not going to make your money back. It's
a lot of work for that,
and you may not be prepared for the work that's involved with owning it. But I like your idea of maybe rent a home first. Ease your way in. So
again, it's such a change in lifestyle.
Yep.
If you're used to, and again, most people go from living with family, the parents, the house, the whole thing. And once they ease over, then you're usually got roommates and stuff like that. But by the time you rent a house, this is when you discover things don't care what you think.
Yeah.
Things don't care. The yard does not care that you are tired.
Right.
It looks like you have giraffes living in the front yard. You got to get out there and get this cut and taken care of. There's just a lot of little things that suddenly, you have to go take care of this.
Yeah.
You can't just, we have to go and update this, move this, change this. The other thing that also happens is I call it the cookie effect. When mom looks at you and says, don't eat a cookie, it'll spoil your dinner.
Yeah.
Like a cookie ever spoiled my dinner, period.
Yeah.
And then you discover that, it's 8 in the morning. If I want a cookie, I'll have a cookie.
Yeah.
But now it's not only did you have a cookie, but now you have a dish that has to be washed.
Oh,
and then you've got clothes to get done. And you've got, so all of these different lifestyle habits begin to happen. So I love the whole idea. Go rent a house and learn.
Well, it's funny, this conversation is coming home directly for me. My daughter actually called me yesterday because her and her friend is at a point where she wants to actually buy a house, and it might be that my daughter rents part of the house for a time or something like that. And we got to talking about it, and she goes, look, I've never bought a house. I've never whatever. And I started giving, I said, okay, it's not a bad idea, but here's things to think about because they have an eye on a house. I started bringing up things like the foundation or windows or just things that nobody in their average everyday life thinks about until it's on their shoulders. And she said, "Oh my gosh, I'm glad you told me about that," because they have their eye on this house that's been on the market for, I don't know, 6 months. I'm like, okay, that's a red flag. In this economy,
there's a reason
houses disappear. Like, I mean, we've seen it here in Memphis. They disappear the same day. You get 5 or 6 offers above your asking price. So I said, there's things you need to look at, because as soon as you rent a house, you'll be dealing with things that you never really thought you'd even be dealing with in your life. Like I said, drafty windows or leaks in the roof or foundation problems with bugs and things. So I like that plan. Just, ease your way in, because it doesn't always make sense for everybody to buy right out of the gate.
It's hard to explain when you're sitting down with especially a younger relative and you go, no, look, you really don't get, this is a lifestyle change. The minute you move into a house and you don't have roommates and you don't have family and you don't have all this going on, dishes don't get done if you don't do them.
Mm-hmm.
The toilet backs up. If you're renting, there might be a maintenance person involved that can come by, but generally, if it's Saturday at 4, you're going to figure out how Mr. Plunger works.
Oh, yeah.
So there's just so many little things that I think is important, educational, and then you discover how much you really like hardware stores.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You'll get very well acquainted with that.
Oh, my gosh, because you always got something you want to do.
Yeah. Now, on the flip side, I'm all about entrepreneurial, being entrepreneurial and being independent and getting your own place. So it's like you may get your hands on a house that it's got a lot of cosmetic problems, but it's a sound house. If you go in there, it's got really ugly paint and things that are easy to fix, and suddenly you do some work on this property and you just increase the value by $50,000 or something. That's cool. I'm all about that. Just be cautious. So. But anyway,
be cautious, be educated, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, and ask. Yeah, definitely ask people, especially people that have had bad experiences. You learn a lot from them.
From our misery. Trust us.
Yeah. All right, Alan. We don't want to run out of time, of course, before we get to our must-have item of the week. Our must-have item of the week, Max. Okay. While he finds the music, there we go.
I have too many options these days,
Give him his coffee. So anyway, Alan, our must-have item of the week here. Tell people what I'm holding up.
You are holding up, I'm going to assume that is some form of memory foam cushion.
Yeah, honestly, it's just a cushion. It's a back. It's like I think I got this at like Bed Bath and Beyond or something. It's it's got that memory foam, which I'm a big fan of. So it's thin. It goes back into shape, and it doesn't change shape very easily. And it's just something that I keep in the truck because sometimes you're working on a floor, or sometimes have you ever worked on a cabinet changing a pipe and you have to lean your head in there and leaning against that is some of the most uncomfortable stuff there. And you might go, well, I'm only going to be working on this for an hour or so. What's the point of breaking out a cushion? Man, these portable cushions are a lifesaver, especially on your knees or your neck or something.
The number of times I've just thrown something down on the floor so I had something to kneel on for a while. But the big thing is especially when I'm working on cabinetry or vanities, I'll take this exact type cushion and put it on that little lip going into the vanity.
Yep.
Because after about 2 minutes, that thing digs into your back like nobody's business.
Yeah, and because you're never at a good position there. You're always twisted sideways.
You're always up underneath there.
And things digging into your spine. Yeah. So, but a cushion strategically placed, and also I just think it helps you. The more comfortable you are, the more efficient you're going to be. But also, sometimes you don't really feel the effects until you try to go to bed that night. You're like, why is my knee killing me? Or why is my back so sore or something? It's because you didn't protect it when you were working. So
a cushion you don't mind destroying.
That's the thing. I think I bought this for like $15. Yeah, if it gets sewage poured on it or something, I'll just throw it out. But
even working in the garden, being able to walk out there and toss down something so that your knees aren't getting dug into by a stick or an acorn or something.
Yeah,
makes it a little nice.
Yeah, so that's our must-have item of the week. I don't know what we call this. I think it's called a memory foam pillow or back back cushion or something, but whatever. Just get something like that. And I like this, the nature of how portable this is. This even has a little handle on it. So
yeah, because I've seen some, also saw some recently that were just like 1 foot by 2 foot rectangles.
Yep.
And you just laid it down, flop down there on top of it.
And I'm not going to pretend I don't use that in my car, too, where I just stick it on my back, and it gives you that little bit of extra lumbar support and everything. So I'm just a big fan of cushions. The older I get, the more I kind of appreciate padding. But, Allan, I want to shift gears. You know, I've yet to shamelessly promote. So I want to remind people that if you need it, let's suppose you've got an outdoor project, because I love the outdoor. I love the great outdoors. If you've got a deck or a patio cover or a fence or just, you know, anything made out of wood for the outside of your home, a lot of screened-in porches these days. That's kind of what I've become more of a specialist in. Give me a call directly at 901-921-7105, or you can go to my website, thorshomes.com, and check out, you know, some of the projects I do over there. And Allan, the other thing is, if you give me a call, you may wind up, you know, I may be talking about you on the air. I won't give names if you don't want me to, but one example, Allan, is this giant, if you've been tuning in for the last few weeks, you know about this this project I'm on that just doesn't end. She just keeps giving me more work to do over there. And she had this giant brick wall. I was wrong. It's actually like 180 feet long. I said it was 150 feet long. I measured it the other day. It's
that brick wall is the gift that keeps giving.
It's causing drainage issues. It's causing, but I finally, and I told you how the top of this fence was open, Allan. I incorporated an idea that you and I discussed with expanding foam. That stuff's a lifesaver.
It's good stuff if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I started using that, and I don't know. I may post pictures. I think she said she's happy to let me post pictures. So that's one of the benefits or the downfalls if you call me. You may wind up on the air. But Allan, a very interesting and wide-ranging show today. I really enjoyed our phone calls, and once again, we want to remind you, if you got
the fact we got some pictures.
If you got a bad homeowner's
project,
if you got a bad homeowner's confession, call us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline. Call or text your confession, and we may read it on the air next week at 901-683-0989. But it's time to get out of here, Allan. We've done our duty. We can go kick back for a little while and take it easy the rest of this Saturday. So on behalf of my buddy Allan Gilbreth and our pal Max behind the glass, I'm Joe Thorderson. Thanks for listening to Tool Talk Radio, and we'll see you next week.